All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Caged in MMA. It's your host, Ebit Sochiwa, and this is post UFC 290. We got so much to talk about. A lot of news actually dropped this week. If you haven't been in tuned with the news, fight media, things like that, I'll try to update you guys here in this podcast. But like I said, welcome back. I appreciate you guys tuning in. As you can see today, I am alone. That's good and bad. Good because again, if I, miss a trivia or something, I don't got to get hit. But I do got some trivia questions for you guys. But first and foremost, I do got to start off with calling out Dana White. Like I said, I've been buying your fights. I haven't gone to a fight. Come on, man. Invite me there. There actually is, and for the ones tuning in, he is giving away VIP tickets if you make the best UFC fight card. So obviously, a lot of people are going to try to put like 5 title fights. I suggest don't do that. Make it realistic. Make it something where Dana White can actually use. And but like I said, Dana White, check my ESPN account. You already know I've been buying all the fights pay-per-view since like GSP versus Bisping. Been a fan much longer than that. Watch pay-per-views even before that. So like I said, I've spent a lot of money on these pay-per-views, even like other stuff like this UFC watch. I mean, come on, man. I deserve something. But anyways, there you go, Dana White. Take me out, invite me out to a UFC fight. But yeah, so like I said, we always start this off with trivia. Even though I do not have a guest, I am still going to make a trivia. So I got 3 questions. Comment down below if you know the answers to these questions. If you're watching it with a friend and your friend gets the answer wrong, shoot, go ahead and punch them, take a shot, whatever you like to do for a little punishment. But here's the first question. This is about UFC 290, boys. And so here you go. How many finishes were there at UFC 290? And go ahead and pause or do it not or whatever you got to do. But if you're still listening, I give you like 5 seconds to, answer. So And the answer is 9. So there was 9 finishes at UFC 290. It was crazy. It's a crazy card. Prelims, the pre-prelims and the early prelims, and even the main card. I mean, this card was literally one of the best, and it could honestly be one of the best of the whole year. So, it was amazing from the early prelims, and main card. Everybody came here to give it all and give it their best. So, it's crazy. So, if you got that, comment down below. And yeah, so on to the second question. Which 2 fighters broke their hand at UFC 290? So I'll give you guys a couple seconds to think about it. And like I said, if you're with a friend, write it down or something. Pause it right here, write it down, see if you get it right, get it wrong. Whoever gets it wrong, give them a little punch or two. So give you guys 5 seconds about. All right. So the answer is Hooker and Moreno. So I believe Hooker broke his hand in round 3, and Moreno actually broke his hand in the very first round of that brutal 5 round fight. And it was crazy. I mean, the fact that Moreno, was able to keep up with the 5 rounds after him breaking his hand in the first round, it's insane. But like I said, we'll get to that later on in this video. And yeah, if you got it right, congrats, and comment down below if you got it right. So on to the third question. And what does Val Woodburn do as a second job? And if you guys don't know, he actually has it on his Instagram page. And yeah, he does have a second job, and we'll get to it there, but later on in this video as well. But like I said, take a few seconds to answer. Comment down below if you get it right, or comment down below what your answer is. And if you're with a friend, ask them to write it down and see. So I'll give you guys a few seconds to, do that. All right. And so his second job is actually lawn care, landscaping type deal. So, like I said, it's on his Instagram page. He does do lawn care. And actually, like, this is one of the reasons there was a video, honestly, just on TikTok of just him, like, being so humble and everything. And, obviously, like, his background, what he does, his second job. Obviously, many people have the opportunity to just train the whole time, and not need a second job or anything like that. But luckily, he got a UFC shot here. Unfortunately, the fight ended how it ended. But like I said, we'll get onto the video. There's stuff said, going forward with him, especially, him pulling in last minute notice and, all the taking the fight. I mean, it's insane. He's a great fighter. And so, yeah, I definitely hope to see him later on in the future. He's definitely one of those guys that, like, they're just so, like, great. You just want to watch them. So, like I said, comment down below if you got that answer right. So, like I said, there is a lot of news that came out this week. And let's go ahead and start off with this huge news. And this one actually caught me by surprise. So I don't know if you guys, watch maybe like some interviews or UFC fight conferences and things like that. Like, just like, maybe Michael Bisping does interviews, John Anik does interviews, etc., things like that. But if you guys were staying tuned, there is a return of a GOAT, and his name is GSP. So George St. Pierre. I got him right here. He's a guest on today's show. Nah, I'm kidding. But he is literally the GOAT, or considered one of the GOATs. And he is actually returning to competition in BJJ. So, there's not an opponent as of right now for him, but honestly, I'm very happy and excited to see him, see what he has to bring. I believe he's 42 years old right now. He's still young. He's in great shape. He's not in his prime or anything like that. But it would just be great to see who he's going to fight, what's next for him. I mean, this is insane. Obviously, he's not competing in MMA, but in BJJ, I mean, it still takes great skill, and especially, coming from somebody who's considered one of the goats. Obviously, he's considered one of the goat for being so great all around. So, he was great at stand up wrestling, BJJ, everything. So, you know, right now it's finding an opponent. He said he wants to find somebody worthy enough to keep his legacy. He doesn't really want somebody that isn't at a high level or anything like that. And obviously, people are like, okay, like Gordon Ryan, etc. But I believe Gordon Ryan, they have the same coach. Gordon Ryan and GSP have the same BJJ coach, or had the same BJJ coach. So, that would honestly be interesting. I would love to see it. It's a friendly match. No bad blood or anything like that. I mean, who would have bad blood with GSP, honestly? But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see GSP in a BJJ match. Honestly, if you know they make it like a public match or something like that, I would definitely, hope to go watch it. I never was able to experience George St. Pierre live in person like I wanted to. I have always been, a huge fan of his, from the start, man. From the start when I got, into the sport. But like I said, I'm super excited for him. There's another. Somebody had mentioned this, and it would actually be crazy if GSP goes against Habib. And I feel like, obviously Habib, he isn't fighting in MMA anymore. He's a retired coach. He's retired all around. Obviously, respect to his father and his decision as well. But that would actually be crazy. Obviously, Habib is more sambo, but again, GSP. I mean, this is part of the sport. Obviously, MMA. They're both MMA fighters. They're both very good at grappling. Obviously, some judo, wrestling, etc. comes into play. So Habib could definitely, capitalize with his experience and his takedown, offense skills and things like that. So it's just great. Obviously, they also have to come up with rules for that match. So GSP, they asked him what rules would you set out, and GSP really just was honest. He was like, "Hey, like I'm trying to give the fight fans what they're looking for, and they're looking for a submission, etc., things like that. So some rules that go for more of a finish instead of point base and things like that. So I'm really excited for that. Obviously, when Gordon Ryan versus Bo Nickel and BJJ competition, there was a few, you know, rules that prevented Gordon Ryan from like pulling guard right away or things like that. So uh, it really, I'm really excited to see GSP back in competition. It's not MMA, but it is BJJ, which is still, you know, I mean, it's still a part of MMA, really, like a mixed martial art itself. So yeah, definitely excited for that. And then we got John Jones versus Stipe official on November 11th at the MGM. So New York, baby, November 11th is going to be crazy. This is John Jones' retirement fight. Obviously, John Jones said the only other fight he would come back for is Francis Ngannou. So definitely excited for that as well. I mean, John Jones, 9 years ago, he said he was going to retire by the time he's 35 or when he was 35, and he's 35 years old now, I believe. And so I'm definitely excited for that. He's fulfilling his dream. He's going to hopefully come out on top. But, like I said, if uh, John Jones is considered the greatest of all time right now, and Stipe is considered the greatest heavyweight of all time. So honestly, these guys got everything to win and everything to lose. So, if Stipe gets the W, he is no doubt considered the greatest of all time in the heavyweight division. And if John Jones gets the, win, then he's considered the greatest of all time in general. Like there's no debate about that. So he's beating the GOAT at the heavyweight division. He has beat the best at the light heavyweight division, and so this is going to be an insane fight. I am really hoping to be live at this event. John Jones is one of my favorite fighters of all time, and so is Stipe Miocic. I mean, he's in the back right there watching this, live. He's tuning in right here. So, like I said, these two guys, I have been a fan for so long. I would like to meet them both, and I just hope I'm there live as well. But like I said, this is going to be an insane fight. Obviously, it could go either way. Obviously, you saw Stipe versus DC. How good DC is. I mean, it was kind of like obviously DC versus Stipe won. DC knocked him out, caught him, and knocked him out round one. And then the second and third fight, Stipe versus DC 2. DC was beating him honestly up until the fourth round, where Stipe made the adjustment, went for those liver shots, capitalized it, and knocked out DC. And then the third fight, Stipe just looked phenomenal. He definitely dominated that fight from round one to round five. Obviously, round one it was great, round for DC honestly, but from there on, Stipe, his boxing skills were great. He definitely showed his wrestling game is on point, and honestly, like I said, I mean they're obviously considered the top of their game for a reason. John Jones right now he's came back, gone, and is back to number one pound for pound. But honestly, if he never left the UFC or was never suspended, etc., he would be number one pound for pound till this day. From when he obviously started at the pound for pound list. So I mean, this is an insane fight, and obviously after that, November 11th, we also have Leon versus Kobe. Now, this one is Leon was talking with ESPN, and he was saying that obviously they're eyeing it for October or November, either in Abu Dhabi or the MGM with John Jones. So I'm pretty sure they'll be the co-main event, but this is another crazy fight. Obviously, finally the welterweight division. Kobe has been out for a while, but as amazing Kobe is, I know Leon in the beginning, he wasn't trying to give Kobe that shot because he just didn't believe he deserved it because he isn't active. And Kobe versus Usman, I mean, Kobe has proven time and time again that he's definitely at the top of the game. He gave Usman his toughest two fights. That second fight was very close. Even the first fight, obviously, the first fight Usman ended Kobe, but that second fight, it was super close as well, where many people had Kobe winning. And, it was just very close. Obviously, Usman was the champ during that time. So, in the judge's eyes, he just didn't do enough to claim champion. But like I said, that was definitely one of Kobe's best performances of all time. And Kobe versus Masvidal. Masvidal's, he was a veteran in the sport. Obviously, they had bad blood, super bad blood. They were best friends, but you know Masvidal's striking was on point, and there was a point, I think it was round four, where Kobe, he just, outstruck Jorge Masvidal. So, Kobe has a unique style of striking, and it's so awkward that it's so good. It's like Yair Rodriguez, for example. His striking is phenomenal. And like I said, we'll actually get to his fight later on in this video. But like I said, Kobe and Leon, it's targeted for either Abu Dhabi UFC 294 or UFC 295. So that one is another fight I'm definitely excited for a lot. So now you move on to UFC 290. UFC 290 was a killer of a card. I mean, it was literally, like I said, I mean, I was so pumped for it. All the fights, like, I mean, man, like they definitely brought out everything. It was a brawl. Like all fights were a brawl. It was crazy. You had 9 knockouts in the whole card, and it was amazing, man. Like finishes, well, not knockouts, but finishes, 9 finishes, and submissions, arm triangles, knockouts, 20-second knockouts, freaking 38-second knockouts. I mean, it was insane. This whole fight card, like I'm actually going to be rewatching it, like continuously, because like also like some of the fights were so short, it's like, man, like it's crazy. So I let comment down below if you had the same reaction. Like, what do you think about UFC 290? And give me your thoughts. Like it I was like filled with adrenaline when I was watching these fights, and it was just so amazing, honestly. So we'll start off with Jesus Aguilar, versus Ross. Like, man, I think this was the second fight, and on the early prelims, 19-second knockout, a 19-second knockout. It was beautiful, crazy overhand right or right hook, and it just dropped him. And dude, the way Aguilar literally walks over Ross and just looks down on him, and I honestly thought he was going to keep punching him just to punch him, but and that's the crazy part about this, is like this sport obviously is so violent, where it's like okay, like if you would have punched him more, it's like Usman or Masvidal said it first. He was like, super necessary. It's like I don't stop punching or fighting until the ref pushes me off. So I thought that's what was going to happen with Jesus Aguilar versus Ross, is he went right on top of him and he was like screaming at him, but I thought he was going to just pound his face and bounce his head off that canvas. So it is just insane. It's amazing, and that fight was beautiful. Obviously, that was definitely a huge win for Jesus Aguilar, and I hope to see him, in his next fight, and hopefully he comes back soon, because obviously in 19 seconds he didn't take too much damage, or really any damage. I think both of them threw 2 punches, and man, like I said, Jesus Aguilar, he knocked him out, and it was beautiful. So after that, we got another finish from Simon against Mitchell, and this moved Simon to a 9-0 MMA record, which is amazing. And he finishes Mitchell, laying him flat and then just pounding on him, some ground and pound. But before that, Mitchell had gone in for a takedown, and honestly, I thought it was going to end sooner because Simon had that tight guillotine on Mitchell. And honestly, how Mitchell was impressive, the way he kept his calm, maneuvered out, moved himself, and it was honestly that it was a beautiful performance from Mitchell on that aspect of making sure to remain calm, getting out of that guillotine. But like I said, Simon ended up at on top, and it was a great win for him and South Africa too. Obviously, we had I believe two South Africans on this card, so it's a great win for him. He moves on to 9-0. So like I said, that was I believe also in the first round, and can't wait to see more of him. I mean, these guys again, these undefeated guys, especially moving, getting knockouts or finishes in the very early rounds, not taking too much damage, they're able to come back quicker. So they're able to rise to the top faster, and especially being undefeated in MMA. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to do. Like, even Alexander Volkanovski, he lost early in his career, and then he unfortunately lost again. But it's so hard to remain undefeated. I mean, you only got I can only think of one person who remained undefeated um, his whole career and retired like that, which is Habib. And it's amazing. Obviously, John Jones, unfortunately, his only loss is due to disqualification, but he was winning that fight. I mean, he was about to honestly finish him. And honestly, if the ref could have finished the fight sooner or finished the fight and Jones would have won, but he didn't. He gave his opponent the chance to recover or like the chance to move and uh, throw strikes back. But unfortunately, Jones hit that 12-6, and then from there, I mean, it did cause greater damage, but the way Jones should have won that fight, or the disqualification, it should have been a no contest. But like I said, if Jones beats Stipe, he's also another very few that will be undefeated their whole entire MMA career. And many people will be like, well, he's not undefeated. Well, everybody obviously in the fight game and the fight fans, everybody knows that Jones didn't lose that fight, and it was due to disqualification for an illegal strike. So, like I said, amazing. For these young guys coming up, being undefeated is just so hard in the sport. And so next we got this is actually crazy. This is actually a crazy fight, and it was, I guess you could say, many people took it like as an upset, and it's Gomez versus Yarawi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it was she finished her in 20 seconds. So Gomez won the fight in 20 seconds. But honestly, if you watch the fight, when she drops her in the first 10 seconds, it could have been stopped right there. Because after that, like, the ref, luckily he gave her a chance to recover. But Gomez, man, she just pounded on her. I mean, she dropped her in the first 10 seconds, and then went straight and ground and pound, and then just pounding, and then it ended 10 seconds after that. But beautiful performance. I mean, it was definitely they had Yarawi, just she was the favorite. Like, many people thought like, she was going to win. Now, I'm not going to lie, there, many people did sleep on Gomez, but it's also the fact that there was a lot of or quite a few Mexicans on this card. I believe there was four Mexicans on this fight card, which is big. Mexican fans, like, they obviously the whole the crowd. I mean, you could hear it, like there were just so many Mexican fans. So, you could tell she was a favorite, or why she was a favorite. But like I said, that was a beautiful performance by Gomez, and getting the win in 20 seconds. And like I said, it could have been stopped in 10 seconds, been one of the fastest finishes in women history. So just all around beautiful. Like I said, this card is just insane. And there were other fights as well that just impressed me in the prelims, early prelims. I mean, like I said, there were submissions too as well. But like I said, this is a recap. And if you guys, didn't watch the early prelims or prelims and only the main card, I suggest you guys watch those prelims and early prelims. This is why you cannot skip out on the prelims. I am a big fan of watching prelims and early prelims because you guys got to understand, like, the ones on the main card, basically, obviously they got to show out. They're right at the point, most of them on at either fighting for the title or winning a title or coming up to get the title. But these prelims guys, they have a longer road, so they're coming in to impress the fans, to give it their all. Their motivation is, to me, I feel like, is bigger because they're just now starting off in this game. So, like I said, it's just it's beautiful, man. Like I said, these early guys, just they're coming out from other competitions, other organizations, and now they're in the UFC. So that's also a huge deal, a big deal. And yeah, so next we got the very beautiful moment of Robbie Lawler versus Nico Price, and this is actually um, I wish I was there live because just the vibe, that the fans gave, the media gave that, Robbie Lawler, it was just, it gave me the chills. I mean, me not being live there, it gave me the chills. So, it's like even the cut man, everybody, like, Bruce Buffer, like the way when Robbie Lawler won, Bruce Buffer went up there, hugged him and, you know, like congratulated him and, on his retirement, on his fight, on his performance. Like it was a beautiful moment. Robbie Lawler definitely, even walking out, he seemed so emotional that this is his last fight. And I'm so happy that, obviously everybody loves Nico Price. He's an amazing guy. And it's actually crazy because you could hear the fans that, like, in the beginning they weren't really trying to boo Nico Price. It's like when Bruce Buffer was calling out Nico Price and everything, fans didn't really boo him. They stayed silent until the end when it was about to get to Robbie Lawler, which, again, Robbie Lawler, he's just a fan favorite. He's so amazing. He's been in the sport for over 20 years, and it's amazing. He has had a great career. So it was a beautiful moment. I was happy to witness it. Obviously not live, but through the TV, through like the vibe, I was able to receive that vibe. Like I got the chills, I got everything, and the way Robbie Lawler, finished him, it was amazing. It's like Robbie Lawler, I believe he knocked out Nico Price in 38 seconds. And remember this, okay? 38 seconds, because we're going to get to that. But Robbie Lawler knocks Nico Price out. Robbie Lawler knocks Nico Price out in 38 seconds, and it was a beautiful fight, and it was when Robbie Lawler clinched up Nico Price, and then he hit him with the uppercut, and that stunned Nico like badly. But I think it's hard to tell if it was the uppercut or the left hook to the temple that knocked Nico Price out. So it was just spectacular. It was a beautiful moment, and it's definitely it's a crazy way to go out, and this is why, because not many fighters that retire end out with the win. DC was saying that most fighters in the fight game, their retirement fight, they end up leaving laying out flat. And that's the truth about the sport, because once you retire, it's typically okay, like, like Jorge Masvidal said, he was going to retire when he felt like he couldn't just keep up with the new guys, and the new guys coming, and just fell off. And most of these guys that retire, they you know wait for that, and they're like, okay, like, it's time. And unfortunately, their last fight they lose. But like I said, this is the fight game. And but amazingly, against a great opponent that Nico Price is, Robbie Lawler got that win by knockout in 38 seconds. So it's just, it is beautiful for Robbie Lawler to do that, and it's very hard in the sport. And in the press conference, it's funny. Well, post fight conference, Robbie Lawler was talking, and somebody asked him, "Oh, Conor McGregor said you'll be back by the end of the year," and Robbie was like, "Well, does Conor McGregor want to fight?" But you know, I don't think that fight is going to happen. I believe that would take Robbie out of retirement. But at the same time, I don't think Robbie will ever come out of retirement. I mean, it's so hard. Like I said, it's so hard in the sport to come out on top, to come out with the win. And it just, I don't think Robbie Lawler. I think Robbie Lawler, he said he felt good. He felt good on the day of the fight, and yeah, I mean, it's amazing that he felt good. But I feel like, yeah, he's very serious about this retirement. He realizes that it's so hard in the sport to come out on top and come out with the win. And I wish him nothing but the best. I love Robbie Lawler. That's also an upset for me that I was never to experience it. I was never able to experience him live, but beautiful moment. Like I said, I mean it's amazing for Robbie Lawler, and wish him nothing but the best. But going on to the main card was amazing. I mean, it definitely kept me on my toes. It kept me like the adrenaline watching the main card, it was insane. Honestly, from Robbie Lawler to the end of the main card, uh, dude, I was just so hyped. Like these fights, like I felt like they were so important to a personal level. I feel like I was there. It's just something I can't explain. But obviously, Bo Nickel gets the win in a spectacular fashion in 38 seconds, the same as Robbie Lawler. And that's why I said remember 38 seconds, because it's so insane that on the same fight card, obviously, one, the end of the prelims and then the beginning of the main card, both fighters get the same, like a knockout in the same amount of seconds, 38 seconds. It's insane. I mean, that's like, what the heck is this script? Like, it's so rare, like to do that. I think this is the first time it ever happened. So the fact that Bo Nickel won in 38 seconds, um, it's amazing. And what's next for him from here? Obviously, luckily, Val Woodburn, he came in a last minute notice, and there's we'll get to him in a sec here, but I'm definitely what is up next for Bo Nickel, and honestly. At this point, he should verse a top 15 contender, maybe either Chris Curtis, somebody like that, or even Abus, Magomedov, like that. That would be an insane fight too, But definitely Bo Nickel at this point, he, upped his record now. He's still undefeated, and I believe he earns a top 15 spot. Who knows if he'll even get a top 10. I mean, that's obviously for the UFC to decide on Tuesday, matchmaking, everything, etc. But Bo Nickel, I think he could come back quick as well, by the end of the year. I think like November 11th, that would be a good date, at Madison Square Garden. So like I mean, it's just like what is next for Bo Nickel? I feel like a top 15 or even top 10, but not like too high either. Maybe he has like a fight at top 15. If he wins that, gets a top 10, maybe, and then a top 5, and then the belt. I mean, like I said, that's up to the UFC to decide. But I could see Bo Nickel returning very soon. He didn't take any really damage in that fight. It's crazy that he got the knockout because obviously, I mean, he's known for being a wrestler. So, and Val Woodburn, I mean, he's an amazing fighter himself. I believe he was also undefeated at 7-0. So, it's great. I have nothing but respect for both fighters, and actually Woodburn, and I want to see him again soon. And obviously the fact that he took this fight on very short notice against an insane opponent like Bo Nickel, um, it's amazing. So, Dana White said the fact that Woodburn took this fight on short notice, and, obviously he got the loss by knockout, but just the fact that he was able to, come in on short notice and fight, he's getting another shot in the UFC. So, that's amazing for Woodburn, and very like amazing that Dana White did that for Woodburn. So I'm very excited to see Woodburn fight again. There was videos about him. Man, I don't if you guys saw Embedded. This actually hit like I guess you could say like um it hit me just seeing like you always see in the embedded videos these fighters come in with their team and being with their team and etc, fly out with their team. But Woodburn, in the embedded videos, he was just alone. The UFC obviously sent a chauffeur for him and everything, but he was just there alone, excited to be there, excited to fight, excited for the opportunity. Obviously, like I said, he has a second job in lawn care and landscaping. So the fact that this is amazing for him, I definitely want to see Woodburn rise up. I wish him nothing but the best in the sport, and I really hope to see Bo Nickel and Woodburn in the future again, because that would be an insane fight as well. Both have full camps to train for each other and everything. And I kind of wanted to see that fight go longer because we haven't seen much about from Bo Nickel, honestly. Like I want to see all the skills Bo Nickel has, but like I said, his skills are so great that he finishes opponents quick. So, like I said, I that's why I want Bo Nickel to have a top 15 contender, get there. Like Chris Curtis, he's an insane fighter. Obviously, uh, uh, he trains with Sean Strickland. So I want to see what Bo Nickel else has to offer. And Bo Nickel kind of gives me like Ronda Rousey vibes. Ronda Rousey, she would finish all her opponents super quick because she was so skillful. Obviously, Ronda Rousey, she ended up losing to one of the greatest to be known in the female divisions, Amanda Nunes, and obviously she lost to a great. But he gives me Ronda Rousey vibes because of how fast he's finishing his opponents. Obviously, the wrestling background, everything. So I just can't wait to see what both fighters, Bo Nickel and Val Woodburn, have to offer next, and I can't wait to see them fight. I believe, like I said, Bo Nickel should return soon, and Woodburn as well. Obviously, after that devastating knockout, he may be out for a few months, but I'm definitely still excited for both fighters to see them fight in the UFC again. Next, we got Hooker. He won by split decision, and like I said, I believe that first off against Jalen Turner and Dan Hooker. I mean, this fight was also an insane. Obviously, the fact that it went to split decision shows how close that fight was. It was a bloody war. It was just an amazing fight to witness, right? So Hooker, he got the win by split decision, and he actually broke his hand. Like I said, I believe it was in the third round. So the fact that he kept going, kept coming forward, and just kept fighting, with his broken hand, I mean, shows just the kind of fighter Dan Hooker is, the kind of mentality he has as well. Like both fighters gave it their all. Like I said, the both fighters were great, showed an amazing performance, and yeah, like so I wonder what is next for Dan Hooker at this point, and who does he fight? Does he fight an up and comer? Does he fight maybe somebody on top of him? You know, this is one a fighter that has also been in the sport for a while, has performed greatly. Obviously, there was the fight against Dustin Poirier, I believe. It was amazing. It was a war, and so who knows what's next for Dan Hooker? Maybe he fights Rafael dos Anjos. That would be a beautiful fight. I don't believe they have fought ever, or maybe someone like Arman Sarukian, I believe is how you say it. So, these are two also great fighters as well. So, do you move Dan Hooker up? Do you maybe have Dan Hooker fight an up and comer? Um, it's what is definitely next for Dan Hooker. Obviously, he has lost to some of the top contenders in that division right now. So maybe Dan Hooker moves slowly up again, or who knows? Like I said, this fight game, it's insane. It's crazy business, and I have always been a fan of Dan Hooker as well. Always love to witness his fights, and they're always wars, man. Like obviously against Jalen Turner, it proved that he's part of wars all the time. Obviously Dan Hooker unfortunately lost to Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, which are also at the top of this division. So, like I said, I'm excited to see what's next for Dan Hooker, see how he goes moving forward, what is offered to him next, and yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope he stays in the fight game for a while. Just like he's kind of like a fighter where I would relate him to like somebody like Stephen Wonderboy. These fighters are always exciting to see. They're veterans in the sport, so it's like you just can't get enough of them. Once see them fighting, you're like, oh heck yeah! Like I definitely want to watch those fights. They're just amazing fighters. There's all these fighters are amazing, honestly. But like I said, there's obviously somebody like again like Robbie Lawler. He's such a veteran in the sport and always gives it his all. Always a brutal fights with him. So these are fans that like these are fan fighters. I will call it. Obviously, they don't. They fight for them and everything, but they always bring a great performance for these fighters. So next, this is actually crazy, obviously, and it was a crazy fight. And Whitaker versus Duplessis, and it ended up being a knockout. Duplessis got the W. Amazing performance by Duplessis, honestly, and I didn't doubt Duplessis, but I guess I think so highly of Robert Whitaker. And again, I still think very highly of him, but obviously it was a great performance by Duplessis. I do believe for some reason, Whitaker, um, he just, I don't know, like obviously I don't know their strategy. I don't know what, how they were, but, and again, it shows how amazing Duplessis is, but Whitaker, he just seemed off. Like he wasn't too quick with his strikes. He usually, jabs and then moves right out, jabs, moves right out, strike, move right out, like very quick. His reaction time isn't like very fast, but and I didn't see that knockout coming from Duplessis. I really didn't see it. Duplessis had an amazing first round. He finished him in the second round, but like I said, it was a great performance. Obviously, I feel like Robert Whitaker was more on the backside, like okay, I definitely got to be careful with Duplessis' power. Like he's such a huge dude. I was watching the post fight conference and they somebody had asked Dana White. They were like, what do you think or what was Donald Trump's reaction to Duplessis going up to him? And Dana White said that Donald Trump was like, that Dana White said Donald Trump said that he was just so shocked at how big Duplessis was and how strong he is. So that goes to show, like obviously we some of us see it through TV, others got to see him live, things like that. But he's just such a big dude to witness and stuff. So like I said, I mean it was an amazing performance by Duplessis. It did seem that Duplessis gassed out kind of at the end of round one. During round two, obviously he got the W, but it seems that like maybe he was trying to focus on his breathing pattern, making sure he breathes, or takes advantage of his nose surgery, but it's also a habit for him. I could, I say this from experience. I had trouble when I was younger breathing through my nose and stuff like that. But this is why when I, my my habit is to breathe through my mouth, so I get dehydrated quicker, I gas out quicker and things like that. So it's very hard. It takes time to actually master the craft of breathing techniques. And many people don't realize that breathing techniques are so important. That's why it's super stressed upon, is like even if you're a runner, obviously there's breathing techniques for that. Even if you weight training, it's like there's a lot of breathing techniques to make sure you get the full force of whether it's your bench press or just your lift in general. Like uh, like I said, breathing techniques are so important. So Duplessis, I hope he goes back and definitely focuses on that because obviously, I don't know if you guys saw, but I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody saw. But Duplessis got the win, and then Izzy stepped in the cage, and they were talking. So that's obviously going to be the next fight, and Izzy, he's I mean a cardio machine as well at 185, and he's always been in these. He has experience. Izzy has experience in 5 round fights compared to Duplessis. We haven't seen much from him, but in the earlier rounds, it shows that he does gas out quick. So Duplessis needs to, you know, stay aware of that, he definitely has to master this craft of breathing techniques and all that stuff. So I'm definitely excited to see that fight as well. And like I said, obviously, that's the next fight for Duplessis. I know Sean Strickland, he was hoping to get that next title fight, but I mean, this just like the way I guess Izzy went about it, and Izzy is the champ, obviously, so he also gets a call in the shots of who he fights and everything like that. So amazing performance by Duplessis. I can't wait to see him again. Like I said, I was kind of there's going to be another video if you guys saw it, me witnessing it live and stuff like that. I was kind of biased, unfortunately. I'm a huge Robert Whitaker fan, and I love Robert Whitaker. Like I said, I really, it's like I think so highly of Robert Whitaker. He's just so great all around. I really believe that I mean, clearly he's in the pound for pound rankings for a reason. I do feel like obviously there's so many greats in the pound for pound list, but I feel like he could have been at the top for a long time, especially as a champion. So amazing performance by Duplessis. I believe this is his. He has 19. He's 19-0 maybe, and this is his 17th knockout if I'm not wrong. Um, but like I said, amazing for performance by Duplessis. So I wonder now what's next for Whitaker, and this is what I think, especially Whitaker. Obviously, he just got finished, but he's beaten almost everybody in the middleweight division. So I feel like right now Sean Strickland, he wants that title fight. I think Sean Strickland fights Whitaker. That fight is going to be made, and then yeah, and then whoever wins that maybe fights the. I don't know. I feel like they'll fight the loser of Izzy and Duplessis, and then unless Izzy loses to Duplessis, I believe they get an immediate rematch. So other than that, though, if Duplessis loses, the winner fights. If Sean Strickland wins against Whitaker, he'll get the next title shot for sure. I mean, he'll deserve it at that point. But like I said, I feel like also Duplessis against Izzy. If Duplessis wins, then it's going to be an immediate rematch. So, like I said, I mean, these matchmakers definitely have a tough, job. I bet it's not an easy, task, obviously, but you definitely got to think about everything in the future. All the different outcomes and everything like that. So, like I said, I'm excited to see all these 4 fighters. What's next for them? Like I said, Duplessis, Izzy is next. Whitaker, I would love to see him fight Sean Strickland. It would be an amazing fight, and I just can't wait to see what's next for these guys and these fighters. Next, we got Moreno versus Pantoja, and this I mean this I think it won fight of the night. If anything, it was it's probably going to be I don't know. It could be definitely, an award type fight, maybe at the end of the year, it's fight of the year. Who knows? I mean, it was the whole time, like, while I was watching the fight, every time I kept going, like screaming, it's like, it's crazy the skill of these fighters. Obviously, Pantoja, his wrestling was just phenomenal. So, he definitely showed out in this fight. But Moreno's boxing, his jab, it worked magically. And definitely Moreno, I think he could have capitalized more on that. But also Moreno did break his hand in the first round. So that was an insane fight. What's next for these fighters? And who knows? Honestly, Pantoja, he's beat Brandon Moreno 3 times now, and but Dana White, they asked Dana White, like, do you make a fourth fight against these guys? And Dana White, he brought up a good point. He was like, well, this is kind of like um, a Moreno versus Figueiredo kind of fight. They fought 4 times, but it's so close that it's so hard to, be like, okay, nah, he'll never fight him again, or he shouldn't fight him again, because the fight was so close, right? And the fact that Moreno broke his hand in the first round and still performed the way he did, I mean, it's insane. So, like, the way, just like the fight went, who knows? Maybe we get a fourth fight against these fighters. If not, maybe Pantoja fights, somebody else to defend the belt, and then go from there. Maybe Moreno. Who knows? Definitely what's next for these fighters. But like I said, I think he's Dana White said he's willing to make a fourth fight against Moreno versus Pantoja. It was so great. It's an amazing fight. Both guys definitely came out, showed out. So I think if they don't fight for the fourth time, uh, maybe somebody like Almir Abazi, he may fight for the title. He's been doing good. I think he's on a win streak right now. Uh, so maybe they bump him up to fight Pantoja for that title fight, and then maybe somebody like Moreno versus Roy Ball to keep Moreno busy. Obviously, Moreno might be out for a while due to his broken hand, but we wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully he recovers soon. So, like I said, I'm definitely excited for these fighters. Moreno has always came out and showed out. Unfortunately, that's a huge thing. Especially me. Like I said, I was kind of also biased, but it was because of Mexico. I'm Mexican, supporting my country, but I knew this fight was going to be a huge, the toughest fight for Moreno. So, like I said, unfortunately, obviously, Mexico lost 2 of their champs last night, but definitely excited, for what is to come in that division. That division is so great, and who knows? Maybe there's a fourth fight. It's crazy, but I'm also it touched me a lot. Obviously, Pantoja. There was a lot of Mexican fans, so unfortunately, Pantoja got booed. But I thought it was amazing when Pantoja, obviously he grew up without his father, with a single mother, and so when he won the fight, Pantoja, during his interview, he was like, "Come on, Dad, Dad, are you proud of me now? You proud of me now, etc." So it was just an amazing moment. It was definitely emotional for Pantoja, and even Gilbert Burns, he teared up. Charles Oliveira was at the fight, and he was so happy for you know um, you know another Brazilian fighter getting the win. And Brazil has always been, I think they have had the most champions in the sport. If not, it's US, but I believe it's Brazil, or they're at the top. So, like I said, it's just it's an amazing sport, another amazing win for Brazil, another amazing champion for Brazil. So definitely, happy for Pantoja. I'm excited to see him fight. Like I said, he was always a great fighter in my eyes. I think he should have got the title fight before, but like I said, he did lose to Davison Figueiredo. So yeah, like I said, I'm definitely excited for Pantoja. I'm excited for Moreno. I hope Moreno recovers soon with his broken hand, and we'll see what's next. We'll see if there's a fourth fight. We'll see if they fight other guys. So definitely, looking forward toward those fights. And now let's move on to the main card. And the main card was actually spectacular. I was actually impressed by both fighters. Volk obviously came out with everything guns blazing, and it was beautiful. Obviously, that fight started off a little slow. I think they were feeling each other up a little bit, trying to check techniques and everything like that. But I mean, Volk definitely showed he's on a different level. He's, you know, now I think this fight showed Volk that there's always, obviously Volk. there was an interview, or really kind of like an interview questionnaire, where this girl, I think her name's Nina. I believe it's Nina. If you guys don't know her, she's very well known in the MMA community. But Nina asked Volkanovski, she was like, "What do you rate yourself as a fighter?" And he rated himself a 9. And like I said, he said that there's always room for improvement, and that's true. But I think Volk really, you know, I Volk got outstruck on the feet, and let me know what you guys think. The way Yair Rodriguez was calf kicking, headshot him, head kicks, and you know, I do believe Yair Rodriguez outstruck Volkanovski on the feet, but in round one, Volkanovski capitalize on that takedown. His takedown, he showed that it's a different wrestling, just level than, what we have seen. And obviously, Yair Rodriguez, he's very well known for his striking, not so much wrestling and stuff like that. But I honestly, like I said, I'm Mexican. I was rooting for the Mexican. But this was actually with one of my friends. He wanted to bet on this fight. He was going for Alexander Volkanovski. I was going for Yair Rodriguez. And I told him straight up, I was like, look, like, this is a fight I cannot bet against. Like, because Volkanovski is just so amazing that it will take Yair Rodriguez to either knock him out or catch him by a submission to win the fight. And it showed in this fight right now. Like, Volkanovski, he was amazing on the feet. He was but his wrestling takedown, it was phenomenal. Like, Yair Rodriguez couldn't defend it. I think Yair Rodriguez defended like 2 takedowns. So like I said, it was an impressive performance. The way Volkanovski, obviously, first round, he definitely won that. Second round, it was going towards Rodriguez's fight, but until Rodriguez, he got caught with a right hook, I believe it was, and then which dropped Rodriguez. Rodriguez kind of was stunned, and then Volkanovski, Rodriguez smiled a bit, and Volkanovski was like, "I stunned you." Like, he knew he stunned him and went to finish him. And the fact that he was pounding on him, and then the way he took Rodriguez down and then finished the fight, I mean, bro, that was one of the most beautiful takedowns I have ever seen. So, like I said, Volkanovski is on a different level, and Volkanovski did come out saying that he needs arm surgery. So the fact that he performed the way he did while his arm was injured, he still kept the fight. It's beautiful. It's amazing. No excuses from the champ. I bet even if he would have lost, he wouldn't have used that as an excuse. But now he's going to be out for a while, getting that arm surgery. And we obviously saw that he went face to face against Ilya Taporia, and that's another great fight for Taporia. So I feel like maybe during, depending on how long it takes for Volkanovski to recover, Taporia has one more fight to just make sure or secure the title shot for him. And like I said, I can't wait to see Rodriguez fight next as well. Like I said, I do believe he outstruck Volkanovski, but his wrestling, he needs to work on it. He needs to work on his ground game, takedown defense, or just the way Volkanovski was able to push him to the cage and kind of like put Rodriguez in an uncomfortable position. Like I said, it was amazing. It was beautiful. But like I said, I'm so happy I was able to witness these fights. It's unfortunate for Mexico; they lost 2 champs tonight. But hey, wish them all the best. I hope by the end of the year, maybe Moreno or Rodriguez come back and fight for the title again. Maybe not by the end of this year, but next year. Who knows? But a lot of Mexican guys are coming up. But like I said, uh, against Volk, I mean, he's definitely going to be GOAT status. So if not, he already is. So like I said, maybe Volkanovski. I mean, it's pretty much settled. He's either going to fight Ilya Taporia next, or he goes up and fights Islam next. And but who knows? Also, obviously, Islam will most likely fight Charles Oliveira, and we'll see how that fight goes too. So maybe Oliveira beats Islam, but I do believe that Volkanovski. He said in an interview, he said that he's leaning. What's more important to him is beating Islam now, and then, but obviously, he still wants double champ status, but the Islam fight is a little more important to Volkanovski because of how the first fight went. And many people had Volkanovski winning, many people had Islam winning, and I'm gonna be honest, like that was such a close fight. I really admire both fighters, but I have rewatched the fight. I do believe that Islam, at the end of the day, did win the fight. He had more ground control, time. He had more, I believe, takedowns. He had like 4 takedowns. Volkanovski did have one knockdown. Volkanovski had more significant strikes, but like I said, the takedowns and the control time is just in MMA or in the UFC, it counts more. So I did score the fight 3-2, and every time I rewatched the fight, I still scored 3-2 for Islam. It's one of those fights that I feel like with the fans, they had Volkanovski, winning only because of like how impressive he showed to be. So, like I said, it was a tough fight though. So it was a super close fight, and I hope to see those two fighters fight again. And what's next for Rodriguez? Maybe he fights somebody like Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen just lost to Holloway. But Holloway, we all saw Holloway and Rodriguez fight. That was a super close fight. Maybe them two fight again. But Holloway, I doubt he gets a fourth fight with, or a fifth fight. I mean, fourth or fifth fight with Volkanovski. I think it's fourth fight. So yeah, like that's also another fight where Holloway, I mean, he's already lost. The way he lost, I mean, his last fight with Volkanovski, I don't know if he's going to get another title shot against Volkanovski, but who knows? Like I said, what's next for Yair Rodriguez? He showed to maybe be the next number one contender, um, and stay number one for a while. So who knows? Like I said, like maybe Rodriguez fights either like I said, Arnold Allen, or while Volkanovski is recovering, maybe Topuria fights Yair Rodriguez, and winner of that fight gets a fight with Volkanovski again. Like I said, Rodriguez, it was until he got tagged, it was the first round it was domination from Volkanovski, but the second round it was Rodriguez's for sure. So like I said, let me know what you guys thought. If what you guys think, who will fight next. And like I said, it was a beautiful fight. I mean, uh, not only that, maybe either Rodriguez will fight Holloway, or maybe Rodriguez fights Brian Ortega again. Last time Rodriguez fought Brian Ortega was, I believe, in October of 2022, if I'm not wrong, or just 20. I know it's in 2022. I can't remember if it was October though. I'm pretty sure it was though. But like I said, it was Yair Rodriguez won that fight. Brian Ortega was shown to, against Alex Volkanovski, he almost finished him. I mean, Alex said it himself when he got caught in that guillotine. He was seeing, the lights dim up, and he thought it was it. Luckily, Alexander Volkanovski, being the fighter he is, he was able to get out and recover and finish the fight. Well, win the fight. But yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think. I'm so happy this UFC 290 definitely came out and showed out. And I really hope to like I said, meet these fighters, experience these fights live, and maybe one day, like I said, I will experience these fights live. But beautiful, beautiful fight card. Definitely one of the best fight cards I have ever seen. 9 finishes. I mean, it shows, and even the ones that weren't finishes, like again, like a Dan Hooker versus Jalen Turner, etc. Like Brian Ortega, not Brian Ortega, Brandon Moreno versus Pantoja. These decision fights that went to decision, they were brawls. So, it's definitely, like I said, one of the best fight cards ever. So, obviously, and then luckily we got, let's move on to UFC Fight Night. Um, Next week, so July 15th, I believe. Luckily, we have consistent fight nights, I think, for the next few weeks. or whatnot. So, we got Holly Holm versus Myra Bueno Silva, and that's going to be a beautiful fight. Obviously, Holly Holm is also another veteran in the sport. She was one that knocked out Ronda Rousey. So, with a beautiful head kick. So, like I said, I mean, I'm definitely excited to see these girls fight, and it's definitely a an amazing fight for honestly a fight night. So, not only because like the style of fight that they are, or this is, if not, it's that the fact that maybe like this could bring up a new contender, obviously, with Amanda Nunes retiring, who's next for this division. So, Myra Bueno Silva, I believe if she wins, she right now is on a 3 fight win streak. If she wins, she could definitely be a contender for that belt. So, like I said, this is an amazing fight. Obviously, we also have up and comers in the middleweight division, Albert Duraev versus Park Jun Young. And these guys, like I said, I don't believe they are ranked right now in the middleweight division. They're up and comers. Maybe whoever wins gets a ranked spot or a ranked fight. So like I said, I'm definitely excited to see these guys fight. The middleweight division is stacked. It's obviously it's one of my favorite divisions, the middleweight division, and including like honestly just every division. You have like amazing fighters, amazing like just futures for them, to be honest. So I'm definitely excited to see what they have to show. And like I said, the middleweight division, obviously Izzy is the champ. You're gonna have him versus Duplessis. Then you got Robert Whitaker. Maybe he fights Sean Strickland, but then you still got like Costa, Vittori, Cannonier, Derek Brunson, Abu Magomedov. I mean, you got amazing fighters in that division. Shoot, you never know. Freaking Hamzat Chimaev might, we still don't know what he's going to decide, what weight class and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm definitely excited to see these up and comers in the middleweight division fight. And then we also got this is actually a going to be a very good fight. This is because these guys have very similar records, and it's going to be Otman Azatar versus Francisco Prado, and Otman is 13-1 right now. Francisco Prado is 11-1. So both guys have similar, records. But the fact that Otman, I believe, is in his early 30s, he's like 31 or 32, but Francisco Prado, he's 21 years old and with a record of 11-1, which is amazing. I mean, to have a chance so early on, and to have a record as good as his, like I said, in the MMA sport, 11-1 is very hard to do. Most fighters, you see them at 6-2 come in the UFC, or like 7-3, 7-4. They got few wins, few losses, back and forth here and there. So, like I said, the MMA, just sport in general, is super hard. The fight game is super hard. So, nothing but respect to all these guys. And like I said, this is one fight that I'm definitely looking forward to. Francisco Prado, I definitely, I want to see, how he grows in the sport, starting so early, 21 years old, has a shot in the UFC. Um, I'm definitely excited for these fights. So, like I said, this is uh, news. Obviously, like I said, we got John Jones fighting, GSP fighting, Leon Edwards versus Kobe. I mean, it's going to be a beautiful, like this year it's going to be amazing. I can't wait how to see how this year plays out, honestly. What's to come. These fights just keep coming out. These news like Dana White, these confirmed fights are just amazing. Like I said, GSP surprised me a lot. Him coming back into the competition, it's amazing. He's always stayed fit. I follow him on Instagram and see him all the time working out and things like that. He's retired but not really retired in the fighting game, always training, always, at the gym and things like that. So it's amazing. Obviously, UFC 290 was amazing. Freaking next fight is going to be amazing. We got obviously UFC 291 coming up in a few weeks, and like I said, I really I'm just super excited. to watch these fights. Dana White, once again, come on, let me witness these fights in person, man. Like I said, I spent a lot of money. I'm not rich, and these tickets are a lot. Hotels are a lot. I mean, you obviously know New York City. I mean, just for a bed, you'll probably be paying like 2,000. So, who knows? Like I said, though, can't wait to witness a fight in person, and can't wait to see what the future holds. So, once again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is Caged In MMA. It's Caged In on Instagram. It's Caged In MMA, YouTube, and the podcast. It's Caged In, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope to bring more. I guess like really, I want to see how this year plays out. Like I said, there's just so much amazing fights. Obviously, we got the BMF title. We got all these other titles on the line and things like that. So I'm definitely excited. But like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow me. Comment down below like what else you would like to see. Maybe like different things. I could be playing maybe like the UFC game. We still got the fantasy MMA picks. If you guys haven't, picked your fighters, go ahead and join that app and join the link. So I appreciate you guys tuning in to Caged In. It's your host Ebit Sochiwa, and we out, baby. Peace.